Hey, this is Sully for Antisocial News, and this is the Body Count Report. 99th episode for Thursday, December the 21st, 2017. I can't believe the year's almost over. I can't believe I've almost done 100 episodes of this. I've almost made 100 link lists for the Body Count Report for you. This is kind of crazy, so tune in tomorrow on all my platforms. Links are in the description. I'll be doing a lot of live streaming. Now on to the episode Body Count Report. And I'm going to be showing you situations of life or death around the world, stories of human importance. So victory and tragedy, only the stuff that really matters. No fluff, no political BS. So first up, I want to talk about a huge issue that has people dying in the U.S., and that is opioid drug abuse. And very interesting, out of Chicago Sun-Times, suburban counties sue drug companies over opioid overdose deaths. Now, this is a very interesting story. Check it out. As I said, this is one of the biggest causes of death in the United States is drug ODs. Now, Manila Times reporting in Quezon, and I always find these accident stories so ironic, especially when they are in the scariest places like Quezon, which is full of areas that are known for New People's Army hideouts, and yet here is 4 people dead and 11 missing from a capsized ferry. So very scary situation there, but it just goes to show you the stuff that kills us might not be other people, might be completely random. 700 former rebels meet with Duterte in Davao. Once again, Manila Times reporting. Very interesting story here because I find there's an interesting dynamic in the Philippines where these organizations, these scary groups that fight the government really get paid attention to. They're not just tossed aside as bad guys. They actually get looked at eventually as a group that's doing something, and the government wants to know what it needs to do to fix it. So it's a very interesting situation. The Philippines is also a country that you don't want to mess with, that the government will kill you for standing up against it. So there's a very interesting back and forth I see between groups being completely annihilated versus sit down and talk it out. And it looks like we're at the sit down and talk it out with the New People's Army. And this is a follow-up to yesterday's story about the unilateral ceasefire that Duterte called for Christmas. All right. Moving on to AfricaNews.com, South Sudan government, rebel groups sign IGAD ceasefire deal in Ethiopia. So check this story out. This is following up on some of the other Sudanese violence news that I was covering, but that was actually about herdsmen that were bothering people in East Africa. So check this story out. This is about the rebels and ending a civil war. Very interesting story there. African News always doing wonderful reporting. Thank you very much. Times of India. Rohingya refugees start returning from January. Actually, you know what? I believe I'm doing this out of order. I should do this one first. All right, there we go. Bangladesh wants India to raise Rohingya issue in UN. Now, if you've seen my video, I did a video where I talked directly to Philip DeFranco via, I didn't actually have him, didn't really have his attention, but I was talking to him nonetheless about his reporting on the Rohingya crisis, which is all Myanmar is the bad guy, and Rohingyas are 100% innocent bystanders in this whole thing, and it's sort of interesting to actually see all sides of it, which Times of India generally does a pretty good job of that, but not always. And as a matter of fact, you can sort of see the Muslim bias in some of their reporters. So it's a very interesting situation. And this story is not exactly what people might think it is, where they're saying, oh, this is Bangladesh wanting India to raise the how bad Myanmar is, and that Myanmar needs to be punished. But actually, it's Bangladesh wanting Myanmar to take all the refugees back, because they can't handle the Rohingyas. So they don't want the Rohingyas there, and they're trying to push the Rohingyas back to Myanmar. So, and that is something that Myanmar has been working to do, is bring back the Rohingyas. There is very likely several instances of heinous war crimes conducted by members of the armed forces against the Rohingya civilian population during military operations in Rohingya territories earlier this year. But since then, President Kyi and others have been working to try to get the Rohingyas back to Myanmar. So this situation is developing, and Bangladesh and Myanmar are working together to try to get the Rohingyas back. Now, this is a situation too where us looking at it from our Western point of view, we say, we try to attach certain labels to the Rohingya, saying, oh, they are treated like illegal immigrants. They're refugees. They're this, they're that. This is a religious separatist organization. This is a group that is separate from the surrounding governments, and in a lot of ways, in a lot of cases, they don't want to follow the rules that government has set up. So they are. It's not as cut and dry as they are just like the Mexicans here in the United States. No, they're not just like the Mexicans in the United States. That is a false equivalency. That is us trying to project onto a completely other side of the planet situation what we know of the world. So try to set all that aside. And I'm not saying that Myanmar is good and Rohingya bad. I'm saying it's different. It's a very different situation. So try to put aside all your preconceived notions of what it means to be this and what it means to be that, and just read the stories for what they are. 2 great links from Times of India in the list below. Please check it out. And you know what? That is the body count report for today. Also, I updated the link list properly for yesterday's body count report video, so check that out. Shout out to Antisocial for making a wonderful video on the K-pop star who committed suicide earlier this week. Our heart goes out to her because she's really into K-pop, so I know that had to be hard. I lost my favorite singer this year, Chris Cornell, and also a singer that I very much appreciated, the lead singer of Linkin Park. Chester Bennington, and yeah, I know what it's like to. You really feel just punched in the stomach when you lose an artistic inspiration, and so I gotta say, when a friend loses somebody they like or appreciate, I know it hurts, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here. Tune in tomorrow. Like on Facebook, follow on Twitch, and support on Patreon. That's the only way you're going to get all the crazy stuff that's going to be happening tomorrow, and that's the only way you're going to get a t-shirt out of me, because I got t-shirts now. I just heard from the printer that the t-shirts are ready. I told him I'm going to show up right after work tomorrow morning, and I'm going to go pick up my t-shirts. They are black. It says antisocialnews.com. It's got logos on the back. It's going to be awesome, and patrons are going to get that t-shirt. So with that, I'm ending today's episode. Thank you, everyone who watches and everyone who supports. This is Sully for Antisocial News, and this has been episode 99. Cheers.